This video was originally recorded on February 6, 2022, and was intended to be released early on February 7th. I did some more digging around. Everything in the video is still pertinent, but make sure to watch to the very end because I have confirmation and some updates on Pablo. Was Pablo Hidalgo fired from Lucasfilm? February 6, 2022. An article popped up, something odd at Lucasfilm Pablo Hidalgo's social media status. There has been a lot of speculation today that Pablo Hidalgo has been fired or somehow released from Disney Lucasfilm. This is all stemming from people noticing a change in his Twitter profile status. There's no confirmation or official announcement that Pablo has been fired from Lucasfilm or that he's even still there. This particular article doesn't really state anything other than they noticed the change in his profile and that they don't know if it's official or not. Let's take a look at Pablo's Twitter profiles and some recent history to get to the bottom of this. Here is Pablo's main account. It's his official working account and it's private. It has been private since October of 2019. This account was created in April of 2014. None of us know what he's talking about because he has it locked to where only certain people can see it. So a lot of people have no idea what he's talking about. Whether he's still at Lucasfilm, what kind of things he's saying about the fandom or the franchise or whatever, we have no clue. Only people in the industry and or that are his friends have access and know what he's talking about. Either way, this account has been private since 2019. Ironically, The Rise of Skywalker came out in December of 2019. I don't know if there's a correlation there, but it is interesting that around that time, he had locked his account. Here is Pablo's second Twitter. This was created in May of 2009. This is a public account that he uses all the time as well, but it's, again, a public account, whereas the other account is locked. While this account was created 5 years before his main working account in 2014, he didn't use this account. It was created in 2009, but he didn't begin posting on it until May of 2021. Notice here, he's following one account. The account that he follows is himself. So some have noticed that here in his description, it no longer says anything about Lucasfilm. This has been talked about all day today, February 6th. 2022. That, in connection with some recent tweets, is what has people speculating that he got fired from Lucasfilm. So let's take a look at what led up to this and why people are connecting this. I always keep an eye on Pablo Hidalgo and many at Disney Lucasfilm. I frequently check Pablo's Twitter. I know what his status is, and I sometimes save tweets, and I happen to save tweets that are part of the speculation that's been happening all day. This is how it all began. Outside of his past of insulting fans, attacking Star Wars theory, publicly putting out that Gina Carano was fired, and different other things that Pablo has done to attack the fandom. But we're going to go from his most recent controversy and what people are connecting that is leading up to him potentially being fired. January 7th. So someone was talking about Tatooine and the Book of Boba Fett show. The argument of, well, we're on Tatooine again. Pablo chimes in, I'll take Tatooine over Diet Tatooine, Jakku, and Pisana. So here he's throwing some shade at the sequel trilogy, which is interesting. Then we have a reply. Not returning to Coruscant in any of the sequel movies was a crime. Instead, inventing Diet Coruscant, which we never even got to see. So then it picks up on the 12th. 100% agreed. We saw it. It just blew up right after we saw it. That was Faux Coruscant Hosnian system from the makers of Tatooine, Jakku. Again, throwing shade at the sequel trilogy. Interesting. So here was a question that was presented to Pablo in the past, and Star Wars Liker brought it back up. Do you happen to know whose idea it was to make Hosnian Prime the capital in 7? Did JJ or Larry really say we want to blow up the capital of the Republic, but don't want it to be Coruscant? Or did someone else suggest changing it to preserve Coruscant? Here's that question, and then Pablo's reply. Basically, Bad Robot wanted it blown up. Lucasfilm didn't. Hosnian Prime was the unsatisfying middle ground. He doesn't call out JJ specifically, but he does say Bad Robot, which we know is JJ's company, and obviously JJ did the Star Wars movie, so it was JJ. And this is on January 13th, he replied. This is interesting as well. I should say some folks because it's not like companies have points of view, which is so untrue. As we know recently with the G4 TV mess, as we have known for years with Disney, there's a lot of companies with agendas. Now the reply to that was, don't take this the wrong way, but wouldn't it have been better and made more sense for it to have been Coruscant Coruscant? It was a planet we knew, and one of the biggest criticisms was that we didn't have an attachment to Hosnian. Seemed like the film suffered from this oversight. Pablo replies, it would have been better without Starkiller at all, but that's a whole nother discussion. But I think Coruscant being in development in other projects was a big reason for reticence. This is interesting for a few reasons, because for him to say without Starkiller, it would have been better. Again, throwing shade at the sequel trilogy. Obviously, Pablo didn't come up with Starkiller Base, because had he wouldn't be saying it would have been better without it. We know that that was JJ. And then there's the tidbit of Coruscant being in development for other projects. The reply to that, are you able to talk about what the third act threat/conflict was going to be when Lucas or Arndt were still involved in the script? Since Starkiller is a bad robot/JJ addition, not much beyond what's said, but the bad guy in the depths which became Palpatine on Exegol in The Rise of Skywalker was going to be on Coruscant. Interesting. Again, Coruscant. Could you say anything about what motivated the creation of the Starkiller? Was it to have something to blow up, or something to wipe out the Republic to reset the balance of power so that the Resistance versus First Order would be like Rebels versus Empire all over again? Pablo's reply, January 13th. I don't know what was behind it. Felt like someone just wanted a Death Star. Again, J.J. Abrams. And in this reply, I think there's something good story-wise about Coruscant not being something the First Order would have wanted to blow up. Hosnian, sure, but they want to march right back to Coruscant and be kings again. Also allows Hosnian to be Camelot, a golden time of hope now lost. Pablo's reply, on January 14th. Yeah, that's kind of what I was hoping for. Like Coruscant is Berlin. They want to take it back, not destroy it. On January 17th, it's not all that deep. The concept art resembles Coruscant because for a time it was, but that planet had the potential to be featured in something else in development. So it was changed to a different location. Not really all that newsworthy. And then here he's replying to Wookiee News. I never said whose idea it was. It was part of the process as seen in the concept art of Republic City. So here he's trying to avoid saying that it was actually JJ, but we know it's JJ. So we know that they're going to do something with Coruscant because Pablo keeps mentioning it in this thread. Coruscant was being developed for other projects. We have also recently found out that Coruscant is going to be connected with the High Republic, and I wouldn't be surprised if it pops up in the Book of Boba Fett or Mandalorian. So because of all of this, Pablo basically calling out JJ and throwing shade at the sequel trilogy, this is why people are saying Pablo has pretty much used up his 3 strikes and he probably got fired because his status has changed on his Twitter. There's 3 key things happening here on his profile today, February 6th. First, any mention of Lucasfilm or LFL has been removed. Second, he has added dispensable cog to his profile. And thirdly, he has been very active all day posting about Star Wars. So it's very odd if he's not at Lucasfilm for him to be posting all this stuff, particularly today with the mention that he may have been fired. It is odd behavior. Not that he doesn't always post things about Star Wars, but today particularly, he was heavily active on Twitter, posting all kinds of things about how Star Wars was made, behind the scenes things. Look, 9 hours ago, there he talks about the Mandalorian, some old ships. Also, yesterday he was posting a lot of stuff. Past 2 days, he has been highly active on his Twitter. Now, with all of that considered, how he got here, his past actions on Twitter, his 3rd strike, the changes in his profile, now let's look at a little bit of history to really see what's going on, because the key point of everyone's speculation today on this topic has been that it changed yesterday on his profile that he was at Lucasfilm. However, I keep an eye on Pablo, and that's incorrect. It's been a lot longer. Wayback Machine. There are 38 captures of Pablo's Twitter, this one, the public one, spanning from May 5th, 2021 to February 6, 2022. He had attacked publicly Star Wars Theory at the end of December of 2020. His main Twitter got quiet. Although it was locked, there wasn't much going on with Pablo's Twitter. He didn't publicly start to tweet again until May 5th of 2021. That does maybe coincide with May the 4th, but remember that this account is older. It's from 2009, and it never was used. He started using this alternate account as a public account on May 5th, 2021. I don't know if there's a direct correlation, but my speculation is that from the main account, Lucasfilm got heated with his attack on Star Wars Theory, all that scandal and talk that went around it, so he started using the other account to post publicly. The first main activity after the Star Wars Theory incident. His first tweet on the new account, the older account technically, but the account that he started using more recently after the Star Wars Theory incident, the first tweet was May the 5th of 2021. In that same beginning month of May 2021, 2021, he had 4 captures of activity on his Twitter. And then you can see throughout the months, there's little different captures of little changes he may have made, something he posted, whatever. Here we go up to December 31st of 2021, and it also goes until today, February 6th. I took the time to go back in history and look at all these dates to truly see when the change was, because I remember that him not having Lucasfilm in his profile was months ago. And ironically, everybody today is acting like it changed just yesterday. In May of 2021, May 5th is the first date. This is his first capture, the first main activity on this account. Author, Lucasfilm development and franchise team member. So here you can see clearly Lucasfilm, May 5th of 2021. The very next capture, May 7th of 2021. He now states it's a public account because people were saying what's going on, what is this other account? Author, Lucasfilm development and franchise team member. The rest of it's the same. The third capture, May 15th, 2021. Here it changes, author, LFL development and franchise team member. You can see here that 10 days after beginning his activity on this Twitter, it changed. This probably coincides with a promotion or a title change at Lucasfilm of him being officially attached to the High Republic. Here, May 28th, which is the last of those 4 captures for May of 2021, same thing, public alt, LFL development. The last capture of May, we'll look at the Wayback Machine, May of 21, there are 4 captures, 5th, 7th, 15th, and 28th, which I just showed you. There's the 5th, Lucasfilm, the 7th, Lucasfilm, the 15th, LFL, and then the last of the month, LFL development, May 28th. Jumping to November 2nd, 2021, you can see here, public alt, LFL, same thing. And as you can see in November, there was 1, 2, and 3 captures. The 25th, November 4th, 2021, LFL, it's the same profile description. Until we come to November 25th, 2021, public alt, author, SAG-AFTRA, content engine, COG, there's no LFL, there's no Lucasfilm. Sometime between November 4th, where it stated LFL, and the next capture, November 25th, he had changed his profile. This is several months ago, not yesterday. This is why I remembered to look back, because back in November, at least the 25th, he had changed his profile. I thought it was suspicious. I thought something was there, but he's posting Star Wars stuff. There's been no announcement. There's been no news report or leak or anything that Pablo's not there. Less known employees at Disney Lucasfilm have been fired, and we know about it. This was months ago, so it's not new. Maybe he was fired back in November, and this just hasn't been announced. Although I would think that the news would have gotten out by now. But it's still the same fact that this status change happened months ago, not yesterday. Therefore, it's not really news because it's old news. Just 34 minutes ago, he's retweeting about digital shots from the old movies. What we can say for a fact is that back in November, he changed and took Lucasfilm out of his profile. It now says dispensable COG, which is interesting. He's been throwing shade the past 2 days at the sequel trilogy and highlighting the prequels heavily. Not the OT, not his own projects, not the High Republic, not other stuff. We just don't have official word, and I can't in good conscience tell everybody, well, he's gone because yesterday's status changed. But my assumption is, unfortunately, he's probably still there. He wouldn't be posting about Star Wars all day, and the word would have gotten out. Something's definitely going on, regardless if he got fired or not, and we'll just have to wait and see. Here we are looking at the account that we've been talking about. Notice here, his name is with a 0. This is that second account that we've been covering and that I mentioned he started using later. Here is his working account that's locked, and you can see here it's a normal O. So let's look at a little bit of history of this account to help give some context to the story. On this other account, his main account, from December 9th, 2015 to December 6th, 2021, there are captures. I've picked out several that show major changes on his page, and we can see the differences over time. Here's his first post on that main account. Here you can see with an O. You notice here, he doesn't mention Lucasfilm. It's just his personal account. By the way, the Wayback Machine will sometimes capture in other languages, but everything is consistent and correct. It is his account. You will see a few different languages here. February 20th, 2016. Here he does add Lucasfilm Story Group. December 22nd, 2016, there he has LFL. January 6th, 2017, LFL Creative. May 4th, 2017, there he does not have Lucasfilm or LFL. December 21st, 2017, no Lucasfilm, no LFL. February 1st, 2018, no Lucasfilm, no LFL. November 19th, same thing. We get into 2019, January 7th. Still no mention of Lucasfilm, but we know that he's there. He's working on projects that have come out, different movies, different shows, so we knew that he was there. March 13th, 2019, still no mention. Here, still no mention. May 1st, 2019. So here he mentions Star Wars, but still no Lucasfilm. No Lucasfilm. That's June 5th, August 9th, 2019. No Lucasfilm. The point here is that throughout his history on Twitter, he hasn't always had Lucasfilm in his account. So just seeing it going away doesn't mean anything. This is worsened by it's happened several times and a long time ago. It's not even that this just happened for the first time a day or two ago. Now we come to October 7, 2019, and his account is locked. 72,000 followers. He's following 405. These are 93,000 likes. 13,000 tweets. Fully clothed Twitter user. Nothing about Star Wars, nothing about Lucasfilm, and here's where he locked it. Why at this time he locked it, I don't know. October 7th is probably the specific day he did lock it. Wayback Machine will detect when a change has happened in a web page and capture it. So most likely what triggered this capture was that he locked it this day. Here, November 27th, exclusive content for subscribers only. December 26, 2019, winery management. He's been known to troll a lot. And here, guy responsible for everything you didn't like, Pablo Hidalgo, this is the credits. Maintaining a strict 420 followers limit. I'm not sure what he's going with here, but a lot of people know what 420 means. May 19th, 2020. Still, nothing about Lucasfilm. May 23rd, still nothing about Lucasfilm. August 19, 2020, there's nothing there. December 29, 2020. This was right when the incident with Star Wars Theory happened. His status changed to retired and having fun, but notice that it's not locked. He unlocked his account because he got chewed out by Lucasfilm for what he did. So then he tried to apologize publicly from his locked account. He unlocked it and he made his public apology on the 29th of December. That event occurred, I believe it was the 28th, or at least when Star Wars Theory brought it up. Now, if you also notice here, he has 513 followers. If we go back just a little bit, here in October, right when he locked it, he had 72,000 followers. Now, because it's locked, you have to have permission to be able to see his tweets. As of November of 2019, he then had 500 followers. So he greatly chopped down his account to who can see what's going on in there. Coming back to the Star Wars Theory incident, you see he only has 500 followers. He used to have several thousand, but now he's very much limited who can see his tweets. In fact, the reason that this exists is because in his locked tweets, he made the comment about Star Wars Theory. People couldn't see it, but someone that's inside those 60-some thousand followers, which peaked at 72,000 at one point, someone from inside there had leaked what he said about Star Wars Theory. Star Wars Theory reacted, it became a big scandal, and then this is Pablo unlocking his Twitter to then apologize. Now we're back August 17, 2021, private account, invite, and he's referring to his other account. And here you can see he has 600 followers, and that's because he's limiting who can see his tweets. He has to give you permission. September 9, 2021, same thing. And then the most recent, October 26, 2021, 612 followers, no Lucasfilm, no Star Wars, it's trans rights. It's not a strange thing that Pablo doesn't have that in his profile. I wanted to show you guys a little bit more of what was going on and give a little more clarification, and you see how it's pending here. Normally you could just follow him, but he has to prove it for me to see his tweets. In the previous part of the video, I reviewed his other account. I am updating you with his other main account, so you see the changes there, and then across both accounts, he doesn't always have Lucasfilm or LFL. So that's not even an issue. But I do have one last update and a confirmation about Pablo's status. We're here on the other account with the 0. I'm going to refresh the page 2 hours ago. A tiny unsolicited bit of advice. If you're trying to get a juicy rumor started, it helps if the subject of it is interesting and or important. Making fun of himself. He does that quite a bit, actually. Also, yesterday marked the start of my 23rd year at the company, Lucasfilm. So I'll just take it all as misspoken congratulations and leave it at that. Anyway, as you all were, back to work. And then here, hasn't this experience taught you can't believe everything you hear? How many times do I say this, guys? Marge, my friend, I haven't learned a thing. There you go. From Pablo himself, his 23rd year, a day after everyone was claiming that he was fired. Let's look at it from his side. We as fans expect to hear this big confirmation or that he should answer, but look at it from his side. He works at a company. For whatever reason, the internet starts to speculate that he got fired. What if it was you that worked at some company and everyone online started saying, oh, well, you got fired out of nowhere? While it may be good to answer and comment on it and say, no, I'm here. On the same token, put yourself in his shoes. Why should you say anything or have to justify anything? You showed up to work today, right? So the internet will say a lot of silly things. You can't assume anything. You must do the research. Everything else that I discussed still is as it happened, but at the end of the day, we have the direct confirmation from Pablo himself, 23 years at Lucasfilm.
None of this is canon.
No.
None of it.
No.
Please like, subscribe, and comment on the video. May the Force be with you.